God, where do we start? It started, we wanted to look at home birth. Well, I did. You were not so sure, were you?
Yeah, when you don't know nothing about it, it can be quite daunting anyway. So, and after the birth of Abel, it was a little bit scary.
We had quite a traumatic birth with Abel. We've been quite open about that before, and I think I just wanted to do something differently. So we were looking at doing a home birth, mainly because I'd read a lot about it. I started researching it. It sounded like something that, would suit me. And I spoke to the midwives about it. We got doulas, didn't we? And they came over and was helping us learn. It all went swimmingly at first, I felt like.
Basically you just got to keep calm through the birth, basically. This is what the doulas kind of tell you. Because if you start to stress out about things, you kind of tense up and things don't go to plan. You have to get rushed to hospital.
Obviously you have no pain relief at home, so we had the pool there, and it was was having contractions. The doulas came and it was great, and I felt really calm, which for me was quite a shock because, like I said, Abel's birth was quite traumatic. So originally I was scared going into it. But we were calm and it was kind of progressing, and then I think we noticed things just slowed down, and when I was in the pool I felt something that just wasn't quite right, and I kind of knew in my head that I didn't feel right. And part of what the doulas sort of teach you is that you need to know when to make a decision to go into hospital. You need to know what's right for you and your body. So it just ended up getting very painful, and you were getting stressed, and it just looked like it wasn't going to happen at home. So then we had to be blue lighted to hospital. So it's getting an ambulance, which was pretty stressful.
No, which was really scary.
Yeah.
I just felt totally helpless through the whole situation.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can really do apart from just be positive as you can for your wife, I guess.
A couple of times the midwives examined me and they couldn't work out what I kept saying was wrong, but I was like, there's definitely something that feels not right. So I was like, let's go to hospital. So we got blue lighted in the ambulance. At this point, I think I was 7 centimetres dilated. So I'd gone quite a big chunk of it, but I just felt like something was wrong. So we got to hospital and I was literally in so much pain, wasn't I? I was crawling up the top of the bed. It was really, really difficult. And when we got into the labour ward, I spoke to the doctor and I was like, please, can you check me? Because I just don't feel right and I feel like there's something wrong. And I literally remember her face when she checked. Her eyes widened.
Yeah.
Do you remember? She literally looked and she was like, I'm glad you're here. As I'd had a really severe bladder prolapse. Basically, that meant that giving birth naturally was just off the table, off the card. So we prepared for this home birth and it was just not possible anymore. So she was like, right, you can to make a decision. Do you want to keep going or do you want to go for a C-section? And I think at that point we were just, this was 15 hours in.
Yeah, it was 16, quite deep in, yeah.
It was quite far along. So then made the decision to have a C-section, waited for that for 3 hours. Everything was again, fine. There was no particular rush, but we went in and Sienna came out crying, didn't she? I literally can't forget that moment. She was with Abel. He wasn't breathing when he came out, but with her, she was fully breathing. It was instant. It was amazing. She was taking over. You cut the cord, didn't you? The umbilical cord, which was just beautiful. You didn't get to do that with Abel. They passed her to me, and I remember her just laying on my chest, and then it just the room just changed. And I don't know what happened. You're probably better to tell that part.
Yeah, so the atmosphere in the room just changed, and all the doctors and the surgeons and that, more just started coming in the room, and then there was a siren going, so we need to get some blood to the surgery. And then you're kind of asking questions, but obviously they're not allowed to tell you what's going on to a certain degree. So that was really scary, and then you lost how much blood was it?
It was, in the end, I'd lost about 2.8 litres.
Yeah, so it was a lot. And then I seen the colour, drain from Olivia's face, and, it was the scariest thing that I've ever had to, witness. And then, I remember you saying, oh, my eyes feel like they're going to close. I'm just try and keep your eyes open. But do you know what? The doctors was absolutely amazing. They did a really great job, didn't they?
I think the main thing I remember is just, having Sienna, and then I could hear, it was a lady, she was saying, she was there's 1 litre, and then she just kept going up. She was no, 1.2, it was going 1.4, and I was I know what that is. And my probably biggest fear from birth was a hemorrhage. I don't know, I had this irrational fear about it. And then for it to happen, it was just the scariest thing. But there is risks to C-section. You have to realise that it's an experience that could happen. I guess that's why I was scared to do it. But like you said, the doctors were incredible. Yeah. They sorted everything out. But it was that moment where I literally had to pass Sienna to you, and I was like, I feel so faint, and I felt like my eyes were shutting. It was just really, really scary. And I think now talking about it, it's hard to like put yourself back because she's here safe. Like, I don't know, it feels very different now speaking about it.
I think it's good to speak about it, but it's also kind of like the most important thing is Sienna that's over there. Do you know what I mean? And our baby boy, so. And
like you said, the doctors and nurses are incredible. I ended up having 2 blood transfusions. And what happened was my uterus tore in 2 places. So that's what caused the bleed. And where I'd been contracting for so long, my uterus it wasn't contracting properly anymore, and it was just causing more blood. So it was pretty traumatic to say the least when we got to that point. But at the start, at home, it was what we wanted and it was the experience we wanted, but it just meant that the recovery and the aftercare was completely different, something that we weren't expecting at all. I wasn't worried about Sienna at all because we had her in our arms and Alex was holding her, but for me to like be lying on the table with absolutely no idea what's going on behind that curtain, and like Alex said, like the doctors can't answer you, so I was like, I kept saying to you, like, what is happening? Is everything all right? Am I going to be okay? Because I genuinely thought in that moment that I might lose my life. And I guess you do start thinking about everyone at home. Like, I started to feel in that literal, like, I don't know how long it was. I have no idea what the timescale was, how long that was going on.
It's all kind of like a blur now.
It's such a blur. Yeah. But I do remember thinking, like, what have I done? Why have I put myself in this situation, having another child? Like, I've left Abel at home and now I'm, like, going to lose my life. It was honestly the scariest thing.
When I seen the colour drain from my face, like, it was the most terrifying thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But like I said, after that, you just got to be like as positive as you can. Like, as soon as the doctors sorted it all out, you was back in the room within 30 minutes, and you was holding Sienna. Then we got to share our little moment. So
I think that my fear was, and then I remember getting home after that and having like health anxiety and thinking, I don't know, that I wasn't going to heal or that there was something wrong, because I ended up having an infection as well and 2 blood transfusions, and I was just scared that something else was going to happen, because you kind of realise how fragile life is. Like, in that moment, something can happen like that and it just changes the course of things. So I guess after that, I was at home with anxiety about something else happening. Going through what we did with the twins and like losing her twin, that already showed us the fragility of life and how important what we have is. And then to go through that again, something else quite traumatic, does just change how you view things and how you think about things massively. There's one thing I do really remember is when we was at home and I was going through contractions and you were on the stairs, you were coming up and I was standing there and having a contraction, and we literally like locked eyes and did not look away, and we both got upset. But like, that was probably one of the main things that was getting me through, was literally like, I was like staring into your soul because I just found like concentrating on his face really helped me, and I think I will always remember that.
Yeah, to be honest, that struck my memory. I remember when I was on the stairs.
Yeah, and you were getting really upset, and but every time I was in the water as well, I'd just lock eyes with you, and like I literally wouldn't break eye contact, and I will never forget that. Do you know what I would recommend everyone that's had a difficult birth, if they had it in the hospital, is to get their hospital notes, because I did that with Abel and it answered a lot of questions for me. And I think when you see those answers and you see it in black and white and you can discuss it, you can have what's called a birth reflection, and it means that you can go through everything with someone from the hospital, like a midwife, and they talk you through it, and that does help you sort of, I don't know, rationalise it, I guess. I always think about the twin that we lost, but because I have Sienna now, I can't feel negative. I just can't feel upset about it because it doesn't feel fair to her or to us to put us through that feeling again. And we're just trying to be as positive as possible. There's enough like hard things going around than trying to like bring it back up.
Yeah.
We do you want to tell that story?
I don't know what it says on the cot. It's your little saying.
We got a cot made for her bedroom. But I find it hard to keep bringing it up because it is like not a negative thing, it's just difficult when she's here, and I don't know how we're going to tell Sienna either, like whether we'll do that. But we got this cot with a little quote inscribed, and it says, "Every sunset I'm with you," because your baby that you lost when you had twins is considered your sunset baby, and then the baby that you have is called your sunrise baby. So we had this little tribute made to her in that way, and you can't see it unless you like pull the mattress off and stuff. So it's very personal and just for us, really, isn't it? There's a few reasons. Like, we love Italy, don't we? So Siena, obviously, it's normally spelled with two N's, but we spell it with one because it's a city in Italy, and we've always loved Italy. And then probably the biggest reason for me is when we had Abel's baby shower, my grandma suggested a few girls' names, and Sienna was one of them. And my grandma has had dementia for a couple of years now, and she can't write anymore. So the fact that I had that name in her handwriting when she can no longer write, that was really special to me, and I think that just solidified that it was the right name for us.